as a generation summoned by Biko. We come here summoned by the cries of a land still waiting to be returned. We meet at a crossroads of history, and this Congress could not have been convened at a more appropriate time. This Congress convenes at a time when the working class is being crushed by food prices, by load shedding, by evictions, by joblessness. This Congress convenes at a time when foreign capital and white monopoly continue to dictate the direction of this so-called democracy. This Congress convenes at a time when black women and gender diverse people remain unsafe, unheard, and unpaid. This Congress convenes at a time when youth to regulate immigration has left our communities vulnerable and our sovereignty compromised. And still, the state remains captured, while the opposition continues to be castrated. So in this context, comrades, AZAPO must re-emerge, not as an option, but as a necessity, because we are not gathered here to merely theorize and plan, but to act. At the heart of this Congress lie the burning questions of our time: energy sovereignty, gender justice, health, foreign nationals, climate justice, and the reclamation of our land. And with urgency, we must launch the campaign machinery for 2026 and 2029. We dare not leave this gathering without a plan of action on each of these. This we do not to produce papers, but plans, not to massage egos, but to sharpen weapons of struggle. So let this Congress be a Congress of discipline. We must be very, very intolerant of slackness in branch building. We must be intolerant of abandonment of campaign mandates. We must be intolerant of factionalism that is disguised as debate. We must be intolerant of cowardice in the face of populism, because we will not build this organization with slogans. It is only through action, through discipline, and through radical integrity, and that will come when AZAPO is a lion again. So we are here to intensify the re-lionization offensive that this leadership standing in front of you started to talk about and started to action back in 2021. We are here to summon the courage, the clarity, and the commitment that once made AZAPO to be feared by tyrants and loved by the masses. I know you as AZAPO understand this. And I also know that black people understand it, because we have said it and we have done it and we shall do it again until AZAPO is re-lionized again. And to re-lionize AZAPO is to reignite its roar, is to ensure that its strength is reignited, to reignite its presence, to reignite its fearless defense of black dignity. To re-lionize AZAPO is to restore the black consciousness that decolonizes the minds and rejects submission. To realize give AZAPO muscle, not just memory. To re-lionize AZAPO is to give black communities a protector and a voice against exploitation and racism. To re-lionize AZAPO is definitely to reclaim our electoral future, not for seats, but for power that transforms. It is to make AZAPO a hegemon. It is to ensure that AZAPO is a dominant force that shapes the political, the economic, and the cultural direction of our land. Because AZAPO is not aesthetic. AZAPO is a repository of our revolutionary ethics. We are one formation in this country that did not sell its soul to donor money or neoliberalism. We are here still, wounded but unbroken. We are ready to return to the streets, to the schools, to the picket lines, and but we do so with revolutionary clarity. Let this Congress then produce a leadership that will not be obsessed with titles, but with targets. Let this Congress amplify the growth of our movement, and let the streets once again fill our footsteps. And let every village, every township, and every campus echo with a chant that we have chanted so many years and so many days and so many hours, that AZAPO lives and that AZAPO leads. So let it send our cadres back to the trenches armed with clarity, resources, and resolve, and let it signal that AZAPO is dangerous again. And let us remind the people that we go beyond campaigning for votes. We fight for land, we fight for liberation, we fight for the dignity of our people, and we do so by any means necessary. So let this Congress mark not just a return, but a resurrection. Let the lion not just roar, but lead for the people, for the land, for Azania. Matla! Amandla! Long live AZAPO, long live! One Azania, one nation,
one Azania.
From Cape to Cairo, Morocco to Madagascar. From Cape to Cairo, Morocco to Madagascar. Tanzania is well, solitata ngebazuka. Tanzania is well, solitata ngebazuka. From Cape to Cairo, Morocco to Madagascar. From Cape to Cairo, Morocco to Madagascar. Tanzania is well, solitata ngebazuka. Tanzania is well, solitata ngebazuka. From Cape to
Einsam gehen. Ja.
One nation, one Azania. Viva AZAPO, viva! Viva AZAPO, viva! Kwakela Kekema Kokela! Comrades, I'm about to invite the president of AZAPO to speak to the nation, to speak to his members. Can we bring him to the platform with a huge revolutionary song?
Hello, Kokobet.
Zabalazelele. Sound for socials.
All right.
Use all of them.
Thank you very much, comrades. This is your Congress. This is a Congress of black people. This is a Congress of Azanians. This is a Congress of Africans. This is a Congress of human beings. This is your Congress, and this is an AZAPO Congress, your Congress. So you must own it. It's your Congress. Own it. Now take charge. Own it. It's your Congress. Don't be shy. If you have to sing, sing. If you have to clap, clap. If you have to dance, dance. If you have to roll, roll. It's your Congress. If anybody doubted AZAPO, here is a statement. This is a step forward. It's an indication, here it is. Not just a step, but a giant step forward. Give yourself a big hand. No, we are not turning back. We are not looking back. We are going forward. We are marching forward. We are running forward. We're striding forward. There is no turning back. We are making a statement that AZAPO is here to stay, and it is alive and kicking. Let me recognize the presence of the former president of AZAPO, Comrades Pandelani Nefolobot. I recognize the presence of the former president of AZAPO, Comrade Sibudi Mangeng. I recognize the presence of the former president of AZAPO, Comrade Strike Tukwan. I recognize at this Congress the presence of our giants, those comrades, you know, that never die spirits. Comrade Mputseng Khokong. And of course, there are many of you, but I will not finish you, but I recognize that dying spirit, that kind of presence that say, whatever you are, however you look, whatever people think about you, but we will be with you. I recognize the presence of Advocate Mujanku Gumbi. And now I pause. And now I pause to recognize the one and only, and to recognize those pioneers of our movement, and to recognize one of the founding fathers of the Black consciousness movement, and to recognize that he who was together with Steve Biko, and to recognize that he who conceptualized and did everything that needed to be done to afford us this legacy as the young generation of this movement. And we are proud to stand up here and say, Professor Banepityana. You don't know it. You don't know it. And you will never accept it. And you will reject it. But we demand you. We don't care what you think and what you say and where you might be, but we demand you. You shall not create something and you dump it to us. You will be here. You are our spiritual father. You may reject it, but we demand you. We demand your presence. We demand your leadership. We demand you to be a shepherd in front of this flock, your flock. A big hand to comrades. Just 2 days ago, on the 3rd of July, 2 days ago, that is 35 years ago, Ingelosi Yomhlaba, the angel of this earth, was murdered in this Bloemfontein, just 14 kilometers outside. He was murdered here. And he was discovered in the morning, around about 7 a.m. and by a child, a small child, young child, little child, and in the innocence of a child. In his death, on his path to death, he was still discovered by the innocence of the child. And we are told he was still breathing, and was told he was still talking. And we are told he was still moving. And was told he was still wrestling for life. And that is Comrade Muntu Gamies. And today, we stiffen our bodies and we salute him. We shall never forget him. Ingelosi Yomhlaba, the leader of his movement. At the time of his death, he was the Secretary for Defense. And that was a position that was hidden, not written in the Constitution, because that was a position that placed him in a position where he had to communicate with the exiled mission, the BCMA and the Azanla forces, and be that connection between the exile and the internal. And they killed him. And we are still calling for an inquest because we believe he was assassinated. In AZAPO, we believe so. And just 2 or 3 days ago, this country lost the former deputy president of this country, Comrade David Dabede Mabuza. And as AZAPO, we mourn his death. And as AZAPO, we are crying with the family, the Mabuza family. And as AZAPO, we feel the grief with that family, with the ANC, and the nation as a whole. And we have to do so, particularly because Comrade Mabuza cut his political teeth in this movement. He was a child of this movement. And then so when we later saw him out there, we were proud to see him and say, there is one of our children, the children of this movement. And as I do that, I'm standing here to remember together with you that this year, 2025, is the 40th anniversary of the feud. The feud that was directed at liquidating, destroying, removing from the face of the earth this black consciousness movement, this AZAPO, only because we belong to black consciousness movement, only because we serve and have an undying love for black people, and only because we are the children of Steve Biko, and some people somewhere decided that we had to be killed, we had to be liquidated, and that was 40 years ago.
Don't believe! AZAPO don't believe! Don't believe!
Our families were destroyed. Our comrades were burned with necklace. That method of killing, that you take a tire, you place it around the neck of a black person, and then you pour petrol, and then you light it on. And that person is alive, and that person is praying to you, please save my life. For God's sake, will you please save my life? I have done nothing other than to sacrifice for this country. I have nothing, no gold, no land, no nothing. All I have is poverty and myself. Please save my life. And that is happening. The fire is chowing, and burning away the flesh of this black person and this AZAPO comrade. Were killed in a manner that no one white person in this country was ever killed in that manner, but yet we were killed in that manner. Comrade Pepangal, during that feud, kidnapped in front of his mother, left there crying, collapsing, by other people who are supposed to be comrades. Take him and they take him somewhere, torture him, and they shot him dead. They shot him dead in a manner that those people who shot him dead never even, delivered one shot to kill a white person. But they were able to kill their own. They killed our mothers, they killed our fathers only because we were resisted and they could not find us. They said, if you cannot find you, we will then kill you. They burned our homes, our parents' homes, they burned them down. I'm looking at comrades here who know what I'm talking about. I'm standing here in front of you, not telling you a fairy tale. Here is somebody standing in front of you who is living a second life because Biko refused that I should die. Comrades, when all these type of things are happening, and I'm looking at you, and I'm taking this history back to you so that you can realize what you are made of, so that you can realize where you're coming from, so that you can realize, even when nobody is talking about you, but your pain, your blood, your death has constructed this democracy that we're talking about today. We have a memo of this democracy. We have a memo of this freedom because we are the ones who were tortured for this democracy. We were the one who bled for this democracy. We were the ones who died for this democracy. When others just walk in and find a ready-made home, a ready-made house, and they know they don't even think about you. And I'm telling you, because you are sitting here and you undermine yourself and you forget that time is ticking, and your time is in the ticking, and your time will come. You must just keep on working and harder and harder and harder. Your time will come, and when your time will come, you must be ready to be there when you are called. Your time will come, AZAPO. Don't give up. Keep on going. Keep on falling. Keep on standing up. Keep on crawling. Keep on moving. Keep on marching on. Your time will come, AZAPO. I am here. I am proud of you. I'm proud of you. I am proud of you. I'm proud of you. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, Professor Banepityana here knows better than me. Utatumpehle knows better than me. That Paulos or Paul says, never give up. Be proud, chin up, stiffen up, walk, be proud, walk tall. Even in the midst of sacrifice, even in the midst of suffering. Rejoice even in your own suffering. Rejoice even in your own suffering. Because there are people who are not rejoicing anymore. They are underneath the earth. Because you are still here walking on this earth, rejoice even in your own suffering. And in AZAPO, we rejoice even in our own suffering. We shall never give up. We shall keep on trying and trying and trying. We shall. Thomas Edison, the one who is accused of having created the bulb. When they mock him and they say to him, you failed 1,000 times to invent the bulb. He says, no, I didn't fail 1,000 times to invent the bulb. But I succeeded. I succeeded to discover 1,000 times how not to invent a bulb. So in AZAPO, we will carry on because we have discovered and we have even warned the other political forces. We have even warned this nation 1,000 times of how not to say this is liberation. 1,000 times of how not to say this is democracy. 1,000 times that we've discovered that this is not liberation. 1,000 times. We shall kill on. And this Simpiwedana in one of his songs, there is a song that he sings and he says, Bantu Biko Street. In that song, Bantu Biko Street, Simpiwedana summarizes our experiences in AZAPO. She says, when she talks about perseverance, not giving up, She says, when I walk down Bantu Biko Street, when I walk down Bantu Biko Street, this wallet that you see, I carry it with pride, even if there is not even a penny in it, even when there is not even a cent in it, but just when I walk down Bantu Biko Street, this wallet of mine, I carry with pride, even if there's no cent in it. Because I know the riches that are there in my soul. I know. I may be physically poor, but my spiritual poverty is overflowing. Comrades, the theme of this Congress which you chose is galvanize to defeat poverty. Galvanize, which means mobilize, which means organize in order to defeat neocolonialism. Now, in AZAPO, we recognize the fact that before 1994, we were dealing with white settler colonialism. And after 1994, in AZAPO, we were never cheated because we understood that colonialism still exists and persists. And so in AZAPO, post-1994, we said, this is neo-colonialism, a new type of colonialism, because there is coloniality. Comrades, I'm here to tell you that, you see, white colonialism is easier because you can see the enemy is there, standing there. But in neo-colonialism, the enemy vanishes. You don't see the enemy. Because what the enemy does, the white ruling class, it then takes the indigenous bourgeoisie, the comrado bourgeoisie, the managerial class, and then it puts those as a buffer zone between the white ruling class, and then it puts these people who are in at the union buildings, and then the masses that side. So every time you want to go and fight, you're looking for the enemy. The people you see are the people who look for you like you. The people you see are the people you are in the struggle with. The people you see are the people you regard as your leaders. So every time you go there, you find that you've got to hand over the petition to these people who are the representatives of the enemies behind them. And what do you do when you get there? You are disarmed, because the only thing you can do when you start singing, you are unable to sing about them, but sing about Bota who is no more, but sing about de Klerk that is no more. When you get there, the only thing you've got to do is to take selfies with them, and then you are disarmed, and then you go and throw your arms in the water because they said you must do that. When you go there, you find no land, but you find them. And then when you go there, you find nothing, but you find them driving Mercedes-Benz and all the type of cars that you're talking about. There is nothing else you see. So when you go there, and then you arm down, you drink tea with them, and then you sing, you go back. That's the problem of neo-colonialism. That's why you said galvanize to defeat neo-colonialism, because you understand that neo-colonialism is a problematic and most difficult one, because it is seemingly enemyless. You don't see the enemy. That's the problem with it. And every time you want to go there as the workers in Marikana, and then all that you are demanding is a simple 12,000. What is 12,000? Simple 12,000. What do these people, the buffer, do? And then they go and mobilize 8 mortuary vans, and to be able to put in there 40 people who shall have died, their own, and then they go there, 4,000 rounds of ammunitions, R1s and R5s. Who is coming to them? It is you. And what does the police look like? It looks like you. And then who is the president? Looks like you. The minister looks like you. And everyone looks like you. And then what do? They shoot you down. That's what happened in Marikana, because the buffer had to deal with you. And this is what we are telling as AZAPO when we're saying galvanize to defeat neocolonialism. We've got to build this AZAPO brick by brick. You can see why it is therefore that we're unable to get the resources that we need. Because the resources that we need are behind the buffer zone. Every time we want to get in there, the white ruling class give the resources to the buffer zone. When you go to elections, you get nothing. Because Oppenheimer, Rupert and them and the Zionists will never give the money to you, but they will give to the buffer so that the buffer can build and strengthen the wall between them and the people. And that is why every time you go to elections, you get nothing. And that's also the reason why even when you go to the black business people, they can't give you a cent, not because they don't want to, but because they are living on the basis of tenders. And then the people who's giving them tenders, the buffer is checking them. If they give you money as AZAPO, they will not get the tenders. So they will not give you money, then they will give kickbacks to the buffer. That's why you're not even getting a cent when you go to elections. Am I saying to you, give up? No, I'm not saying you must give up. And I'm saying you must discover 1,000 reasons why you must survive, and then survive in this road and go forward. And then you must be able to make it happen by any means necessary. AZAPO must be taken to parliament. AZAPO must be taken to the legislatures. AZAPO must rise and rise and rise by any means necessary. Comrades, you're not going to come here and complain. You're not going to come here and moan. I'm here to tell you, you have no one to blame. If you as AZAPO do not have money, it is a choice as a political education that is leading millions of black people not to have money. It is a choice. You have decided you don't want to have money. If you want to have money, you have money because the people are your money. Be able to get the crowd pulling, get the money, organize the people behind you. You will get the money. That is your resource. That is your money. That is your strength. That is your weapon. You have the money. It is a choice, AZAPO, that you don't have money. Don't blame no one. Don't blame Rupert. Rupert will not give you money. He can't give you a gun to shoot himself. Never. He will not do that. So don't blame anybody else if you don't have money. Blame yourself. It is you who is responsible for you not having the money, because you have the money and you are the money. You must make it happen. It is a choice for you. It is a choice for you, AZAPO. If people are saying, or you look at yourself and you say to yourself, it looks as if I'm small and whatever. No, don't blame other people. It is a choice to be small. It is you who decided that AZAPO must be small, if it is indeed small. So blame yourself. When you start not doing your work, you're not organizing, you're not getting into the people, talking to the people, giving them the message of AZAPO. It is a choice to be small. You must blame yourself, nobody else. It is a choice to be small. When you're inactive, doing nothing, all you do is to move in, warm yourself up, and then your tea is there, and your popcorns are there, and you're sitting in front of television, and then watching for what? Watching for AZAPO to appear on television, when in fact, you must understand that television is a reflection of reality. Television takes you there because you've done something, some action on the ground. You're not going to appear there if you did nothing on the ground. And then you are sitting there with your popcorns watching for AZAPO to appear. You have yourself to blame if AZAPO is inactive. And what said to you, re-lionize AZAPO? When we say to you, re-lionize AZAPO, it is because AZAPO is a lion. That's why we say re-lionize. Comrades, it is a problem for a lion that does not realize that it is a lion. Because if you're a lion in the jungle and then you don't realize that you are a lion, other animals will know and recognize that you are a lion. The first time they see you, they will attack you because you are a lion. They know what to expect from a lion. They know what to fear from a lion. And you are going there and then you don't realize that you're a lion. When you don't realize you're a lion, you are a danger to yourself. Re-lionize us up. Comrades, the struggle, I'm here to tell you this morning. I am told that I am your president. And I believe that I'm your president. I believe that I'm your president. And then because I am that which you told me that I must believe, I'm here to tell you, comrades, that no, the struggle is not going to wait for you. You're sitting here, you're telling people about, hey, you must understand us. We're the children of Banipichan. We are the children of Bantu Bigo. The people say, oh, thank you, is that so? Okay, all they will do, they will steal your Bantu Bigo. They will steal your Banipichan. They will steal your black consciousness. And they will use it to get where you are not using it to get to. That's what they will do. That's what they will do. Because you are not using your Banipikan. You are not using your Bantu Bigo. You are not using your black consciousness. Other people will grab it and use it for themselves. And you will still hear and complain. Unfortunately, even when they steal our Bantu Bigo, even when they steal our Banipikan, they steal our black consciousness. Unfortunately, they did not steal the directions for use. The direction for use are still with us. You may steal my perfume, but if you do not know, before you use my perfume, you must wash first. My perfume will not work. So they take our black consciousness, but because they did not wash first, it's not working. Comrades, I'm here to tell you, if you did not realize, that AZAPO is blood. We were once told that she signed a gas. We signed by blood. AZAPO is blood. We are here because Unkoputse died. Mapetlamo Happy died. You can name them. All of them died. All of them died. All of them died. All of them died. All of them died and died and died. You can name them. AZAPO is blood. So when you hear, don't forget that you are here because of blood, and this is blood. And then when you are doing all our silly things that we do, you must understand that you are betraying the blood. Understand that. Because if you told Steve Biko that he was wasting his time when he sacrificed for you, if you told him that he was sacrificing his time when he died for you, that you would forsake him in the matter of time, then Steve Biko would be here with us. He would be here with us. He would be here with us. Comrades, I'm here to tell you that AZAPO is the resistance. We must resist, defend, and advance. We must never give you. I'm here to tell you that AZAPO is a compass. When everyone is getting lost, we must be able to use the compass. But you can't use the compass if you're not there and with those who are lost. You must be with them and amongst them so that you use the compass. Don't use your compass in your own room and under the table in a dark room. And then come on, it's not working. I'm here to tell you that AZAPO is a torch. Once you've found the path with that compass, you must be able to throw light on that path. And that path and that torch is AZAPO, comrades. And I'm here to tell you, those people who undermine AZAPO, they don't understand. Because when many people look out there, they look at all the plants and then they see the plants growing up and up, growing up and up and flowery and different things. And then they look for AZAPO, they don't find us. And among the plants and among the fires, they can't find us because we are not there. We are not there. AZAPO is a different type of a plant. We are a kind of a plant that whose fruit is not above the ground, but it's underneath the ground. Like the potato, we hide our strength, we hide our gifts, we hide our talents, so that we're able to use them at the right time, so that the enemy is unable, to attack our strengths. We hide them, the element of surprise. We are there. That's what we call gravitropism. We grow towards gravity. But that's our strength, and that's why they can't attack us. And that's why we're still even here today, because we are growing, and our food and our everything. We don't boast. We don't do chest beating. Our fruits, our strength is under the ground. That's what it is. But now it's about time that we go, so that the people are able to harvest us. The people must harvest us from under the ground, so that we're able to feed the nation. Well, that must happen. Comrades, I'm here to tell you that a black consciousness must be mainstreamed. Hey, when we talk about education must be inspired by black consciousness values. When we talk about university education, psychology, economics, anything, it must be black consciousness inspired, built on black. When you talk about management and everything, business, it must be. When you talk about governance, when you talk about everything and anything, when you talk about religion, when you talk about God, when you talk about life, when you talk about spirituality, when you talk about anything politics, it must be based on black consciousness. Black consciousness must be mainstreamed, because BC is life. It is the way of life of black people. It is their way of thinking. Black people must not be allowed to think outside of themselves. They must think in of themselves, for themselves. Comrades, we should never forget that AZAPO is much more than an organization of its members. AZAPO is the movement of the people. We should therefore move with haste and deal with matters that affect the people, comrades. Due to the fact that we play in a political arena, an arena polluted with lies, peddled by dishonorable people who prefer to call one another honorable when they are in fact dishonorable. I should start with sharing some cold facts with you, comrades. People generally mistrust politicians because politicians are in fact untrustworthy. Of course, with good reasons, comrades. Because we are political activists who are bigots children. Let me just share these facts with you. Listen to me. In the first 3 months of this year, close to 300,000 women and men lost their jobs. In the first 3 months of this year, close to 300,000 women and men lost their jobs. I'm misleading you when I'm saying people or men and women and men. Black people lost their jobs, 300,000. If you factor in the reality that one worker in our country supports between 8 and 10 people, you can say close to 3 million people. Close to 3 million people have now been pushed to the face of starvation as they no longer have any source of income. And those are black people, that 3 million I'm talking about, black people. According to official records, and this is the information that comes from the government itself, the rate of unemployment has risen during the first quarter of 2025 to 32.9%. And that is 1% increase from the first quarter of 2024. Comrades, I'm saying to you, this figure is misleading in that it excludes the millions of people who have given up looking for employment. The real figure, comrades, which economists call the expanded unemployment rate, currently stands at a record of 43.1%. And those are black people. Tragically, this means that almost half of the people who should be working are not working. They're unemployed, and those are black people. It is important to point out at this stage, comrades, that this figure does not take into account the other realities. And those realities are the fact that the overwhelming majority of the employed people are actually underemployed. So if you think you're employed, you must know that you are underemployed. You are not employed, particularly if you're black. You are still underemployed. The vast majority of people classified as employed earn so little that they spend virtually all of their income on transport and food. The income that you earn, it is only there to take you back to work, to make production for your employer and come back again. Nothing else. They just earn enough to go to work. The painful reality, comrades, is that over the past 5 years, the South African economy has been growing at a tortoise pace of an average of 0.7%. Can you imagine? Ever since we've been in this country, we don't get beyond that. We struggle around 1% growth. Economics will tell you that in order to make a dent in creating real employment, comrades, the economy should be growing at 5%. At 5%. The figure of 0% is actually a contraction, considering that the South African population has been growing by an average of 1% over the 5 years. In a layperson's terms, more people have been exiting the job market than the few opportunities that the economy is creating. Then there is a serious problem of the national debt. Some people may defensively and conservatively argue that the government debt is not the creation of the democratic state. Yes, they may say so. And that the problem was created by the apartheid state. You know that. When they clap you, they always say, no, it's not me who's clapping you, it's the apartheid state. Fair point, maybe, but let us also examine the facts closely. At the height of apartheid, the government debt stood at 56% to the gross domestic product. In AZAPO, we condemned the democratic state for honoring the apartheid date because we said, why do you honor that apartheid debt? Because that apartheid debt, it was money borrowed to oppress and kill us, to colonize us, to rape our mothers and our sisters. So why do we then pay that debt? But they paid it. Comrades, we acknowledge the fact that the ANC-led government under Thabo Mbeki was focused on reducing the national debt so that it was able to bring down to about 26% of the GDP. But the subsequent administration of Jacob Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa reversed that trend and continued spending more money than the government was able to collect. Currently, as I'm talking to you, the debt ratio is standing at a staggering 80% of the GDP. 80% of the GDP, that's the debt that they are serving. And they're not even able to dent it. It's the interest they're even struggling to. So that money is not going to developing us here, but to servicing the debt. What does this mean in real terms, comrades? Using the latest figures released by the Minister of Finance in his budget speech, 22% of every R1 that the government spends will go to service the national debt. Out of R1, 22 cents goes to servicing the debt. So in other words, we are with a mashonisa government. It's a mashonisa government. We are getting nowhere, and that is a problem. Having said that, let me just share this with you. Everyone out there is talking about what? The national dialogue. Everyone out there, even those of us who can spell dialogue, are talking about the national dialogue. Comrades, from the beginning, from the outset, let's say this to you. As AZAPO, even though we are skeptical of the national dialogue, but we will not boycott it. We will not boycott it. Because 740 million of your money is being spent for that. So therefore, we will be there to see what is happening. We will not boycott it. Yes, we are skeptical, but we won't boycott it. They are saying they are trying to talk to you and the citizens. To do what? To tell them how to govern. Comrades, 30 years after democracy, these people still don't know what they have to do. They still come back to you and say, what must we do? Do you think Steve Biko did not know what he died for? Do you think that Chris Hani did not know what he died for? Sobukwe did not know what he died for? In June 16, do you think the people did not know what they died for? Do you think you did not know what you struggled for? They don't know today. They are calling a dialogue, everyone to come and tell them what they want. They are behaving like Father Christmas, come and tell me what you want. And in the morning when you wake up, it will be next to your pillow. Comrades were saying to them, no. When you look at this dialogue now, there are eminent persons, and those eminent persons, in those eminent persons, there is not even one ordinary citizen. Who is there? Rolf Meyer and them. When you're looking at the ministerial task team and all of them, there is not even one task team. When you're looking at all those steering committees and all those things, there is not even one ordinary citizens. And all those task teams, and many of them, they are there to be able to decide what will be the outcome of the dialogue. So therefore, even before you are there, your fate has been decided. By the time you come and sit there, you will be useless. Remember that in this country, there are always commissions. And then all of these commissions, the Zondo commissions, produce nothing. After about 1 billion spent, and we are now told by the NPA that all those cases of Zondo are not prosecutable. We're now told. There's been a commission after commission. There was the TRC, which AZAPO challenged. And then in that TRC came with a report, and then that was a commission. They were supposed to implement the decisions. What did they do? Today, Ramaphosa is now producing another commission to check why did that commission this not happen. Commission after commission and after commission after. We have a government that outsources governance, outsourcing governing. That's what is happening. I don't know many of you. When I was younger, there was that thing that was called upungu pungu. I don't know what we call it in our other languages. Upungu pungu is that insect. When you find it is segmented, and then it turns this head this way and that way and that way. We used to call it upungu pungu. I don't know in other languages. I could not find it in English. But upungu pungu, when we were young boys, is that insects you pick up when you can't find the kettle, and then you talk to it and say, pungu pungu zipinkombo zasekhaya. Now you pick up that, and then it starts saying, and then it revolves its head, and then where it stops, then you go in that direction. Today we are ruled by Opungu Pungu. It is Pungu Punguism, where people in 2018, they still went about and said to the people, can you come us and tell us, do you really want land? And if you want land, what do you want? There were imbizos throughout the country. Millions were spent in that project. What happened after that? After that, still 74% of the land is still in white hands. Pungu pungu. So this is the kind of thing and problem that we are talking about. Comrades, I'm sitting down, and when I sit down to tell you that as AZAPO here, and I know some of us don't agree. As AZAPO here, we recognize that there is no one political force that will be able to liberate the country. It's not going to be one, it's going to be all of us together. It's not going to be one. We are saying as AZAPO. We are saying, unless we want to go to parliament, when you want to go to parliament, you want to go alone, of course. But if you want the land, you will not be able to liberate the land alone. You need like-minded forces. Steve Biko died on that mission. Steve Biko died on that mission to unite the political forces of this country into one political movement and a minimum political program. And he died on that mission. It was black solidarity. In 1983, as AZAPO, we continued on that mission, and then we spearheaded the formation of the National Forum. More than 200 organizations were there, and that was the time AZAPO was demonstrating to the world that AZAPO is a hegemon. The hegemony, because as AZAPO, we are a people's movement, not an organization of our members. That is why in AZAPO, we must not only lead our members, we must lead society. We must lead society. And to lead society, you need to influence other political forces. To lead society, do not fear your muscle. If your muscle is small, build muscle and get out there and involved with other forces and get in there in the political space of ideas and then influence the direction of it. Don't fear. What kind of a river are you to fear to get into the ocean, fearing that you get lost? Because when you are in the ocean, you are even bigger. You are even bigger. But why do you worry? Because you will be a river again. That's situation. So as AZAPO, therefore, we are saying we're out to build the Azanian Liberation Front. When we got out of here, we will build the Azanian Liberation Front.
99%.
We will then talk to other like-minded forces, and we say when we are sparsed, when we are divided, our muscle is smaller. Can we come together, like-minded forces, and we have a minimum political program, and then we go to the communities and champion the struggles of the people, because the champions of the people are not only in parliament, but they are out there with the people. And so as AZAPO, we'll go there and dialogue with the people in the communities. We will go there and do as we did when we dialogued in 1976 with the people, and when we did and dialogued with the people in Shabva, when we did and dialogued with the people during when our kings and queens, we're fighting with the British and defeating them. That was the dialogue, and that dialogue must continue. That national dialogue is our dialogue, and as AZAPO, we must go out and dialogue. But the first dialogue, comrades, is to be able to have something to say out there And then so let's build that dialogue starting here. Comrades, I'm telling you, I have never been this confident. I have never been this proud. I've never been this assured that the movement of Biko is a giant that has awoken up. And I'm filled with that joy, with that spirit, with that belief. And together we shall march on. And comrades, if you stand up and march on, we stop gossiping, we stop worrying that this one is tall, this one is short, but we go out there, we add the short and the tall, and so that our height is even higher. And then you have a partner in me. With that, let's go out there, and I'm saying to you, Mandla! One Azania! One nation! Viva Zapo, viva! Mandla! Thank you. Thank you.
Amanda! One Azania! One nation! Yelilizwe labokokobis. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe labokokobis. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe baba. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe baba. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe labokokhobe. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe labokokhobe. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe baba. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe baba. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe labokokhobe. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe labokokhobe. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe baba. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe baba. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. Yelilizwe labokokhobe. Yelilizwe labantu abamnyama. One Azania, one nation. Can protocol make sure everybody is inside? I want everybody inside. Can everybody come inside? We are not done. I want everybody seated and I want everybody inside. Please make sure nobody is outside. Can I get that song again? Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. Can your team bring everybody inside? Quickly. Tanzania, one nation. Thank you, comrades. Let's proceed with our program. Tanzania, one nation. To thank the president of AZAPO for that riveting opening address. It was really earth-shattering. I'm now going to take us forward with our program as we build towards lunch. I do understand the agitation, but I'm going to be calling on Isitwalandwe, Siparangwe, to come and talk to us. He is the founder of the philosophy and the movement. Professor Banipikya, welcome. Is it on?
Very true. Comrades and friends, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the reception. Thank you, Mr. President, for the invitation to come and be with you today. Thank you especially for that address. Thank you for the truths that you put and the challenges that you put to all of us, and indeed to put to the country at large. A kind of state of the nation address, I think. Rather, I hope that it will be captured as such, because there's so much there that all of us must actually take into account. Today, if I hadn't been here, I would have been with the family of Tom Mantata, who's for the unveiling of the tombstone of Comrade Tom. I start by reminding us about some of the forgotten comrades like Tom, who slaved and worked and risked everything. What I always regard as the key thing about Tom is that he would go all over the country, to the farthest places of the country, to find even the most insignificant and unknown people who are suffering under the apartheid system. And totally without any fear, and he risks so much that he cared for people, and his work in the stages of dying ages of apartheid. His work was connecting with people and caring for them wherever they are. The thing that I think we are all agreed on, and indeed that is what the presidential address was about. We all agree that 31 years into our democracy, we have a crisis of democracy. We must all agree that our democracy has not transformed the well-being and the lives of the ordinary people as we had hoped. We've got a crisis of democracy because South Africa today is considered one of the most unequal countries in the world, probably in some stats, the most unequal country in the world today. That 31 years on, we're a country that so many people die unnecessarily death, and the irony, two things come to mind. One is that most of us if not all of us, vote every 5 years. In fact, even in between 2 years, every 5 years, we vote, we cast our vote. We cast our vote in the way in which we cast our vote, and then we turn around the corner and complain. We cast our vote, but what we should be asking ourselves, how responsible are we with the votes that we cast? The second problem we have as a result is a crisis of governing. I'm glad the President corrected himself when he had started by saying crisis of governance. It's actually the governing. The systems of governing this country are falling apart. It doesn't matter where you look and how you look at it. There is a crisis that there is a lack of confidence that so many South Africans have in those who govern the country on their behalf. So that tells you that the people who govern the country on our behalf are not, in fact, representing us, because it appears that there is no confidence in those who govern our country on our behalf. So that's a problem. And that's a problem that there is a gulf between those who govern us and those who govern on our behalf. So the question then must then be asked, what then is to be done? And that, I think, should be the theme of everything that we do today. And I want to spend a bit of time talking about what then must be done. And if you go back to the SASO Policy Manifesto, if I recall, and it defines black consciousness those days as a state of mind and a way of life. Black consciousness is a state of mind and a way of life. It's a state of mind because it's calling upon us to actually apply our minds and our thinking critically, that we observe what goes on around us, that we have an idea where we are going and how we're going to get there. So it's a state of mind that our very being is an act of thinking and clarifying our thoughts, not just bumbling from one crisis to the other. So it's a state of mind. The second thing we say, it's a way of life. In other words, once you have become convinced yourself about what it is that is right and what is correct and what it is that we should be doing, then you internalize it. It becomes who you are. It cannot be separated from who you are to what you actually believe. What you believe must be reflected in who you are, day by day, whether you're sleeping or whether you're up and about. So this thing that is going on in our country in a very big way, where we actually are no longer know whether this is really identifying with us and who we are any longer, or we are totally separated and alienated from our systems of governing in our country altogether. Now, when that was written, what was uppermost in our minds, I can say, was the fact that there was a tendency of black people to be ashamed of who they are as black people. And they didn't really appreciate the worthiness that they had as human beings. That so much that we allowed and enabled to happen in our country under apartheid was actually, in part, we were seeking to emulate the fruits of apartheid in the way in which we were. The important thing about that is that until we actually turned around and said to black people, we need to have a conversation as black people about blackness, about what does it mean to be black in this day and age. And I would say that even in our time today, it's about time we turn around and ask ourselves, what does it mean to be black today? You know, Steve Biko wrote one of his most important, in my view, essays. It's not one that is well known and is quoted about by scholars. One of his very, very important essays, and I ask you to read it. It's called We Blacks. We Blacks. He was trying to say that it's about time that we talk to ourselves about ourselves, and that we observe our lives as it is, as we live it day by day. That never again should we live a life of falsehood and try to be that which we are not. So he talks about the normal lives of people where they were prepared to make an excuse of their unwillingness to really stand up for themselves and accept that they were no longer human. The system itself was denying their humanity. So we blacks is our clarion call today, that we blacks in our country, it's about time that we talk about ourselves, about who we are, and about what blackness is. If there's ever going to be a solution to this country, if ever there's going to be a solution to this country, it's about time that we dialogue among ourselves as black people about our country and ourselves and its future. If we say that this is our land, we belong to it, then it's about time that we talk about it and say that how do we move forward. So I think that national dialogue is not without purpose, because actually it can become a means very different from what the Constitutional Assembly and Constituent Assembly did at that time, because that was a gathering of organizations. They even had a system by which decisions were made by sufficient consensus of two political parties. So a lot of what is there, the convenience of that time brought us to the point where we were. And I think in many respects, it was not unuseful, if I may use that word, that we got to that point. At least we needed to cross the precipice and begin to have a constitution that we begin to say it's our own. I think 30 years on, we now know that we needed to do more than set up a system to elect a government that is supposed to represent ourselves. I often think that so much of our country is not the policies that matter. It's the people who matter. It doesn't matter what you say, it's something you can call black economic empowerment, whatever it is. The truth of the matter is that out of ourselves, millionaires have been created out of ourselves. And it is true that once they become millionaires, they become something different. They are no longer black, it seems. The question you must ask ourselves is this. I think I'm right in saying if you go to a situation where black Americans are, once they become rich and they have a lot of money, what do? They start a church, I suppose, one of the things they do. The second thing they do, they set up a foundation and provide scholarships for black children to be able to rise as well. The third thing they do, they set up schools and sometimes universities under their name. Okay, it's okay. But what do we do when we have lots of money? People buy 19 cars that cost 3 million rand. And they put them somewhere. You can't ride 19 cars. Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And so the flamboyance and the materialism that we live with, that we take pride in the little things that are material, that actually we think they make us better and bigger than we are. Whereas in fact that is all nothing, absolutely nothing. So that is the reason why we need to work harder to address the mindset of many of us. To say that being black and rich doesn't make you black and proud. It's about time that we begin to be very proud. The last thing I want to say is this about Steve Biko. One of his very well-known essays is that essay where he talks about the pursuit of true humanity. The pursuit of true humanity. In other words, I'm trying to say that the fact that you are educated, you have many cars, you may have mansions, homes in different parts of the country, you may have millions or something like that you have around you. Until actually you internalize your own humanity, that makes you take up the idea of Ubuntu that the other person is as important to your humanity as your humanity is important to them. So that we don't talk that just in theoretical terms, but we practicalize what it is to be Ubuntu. We need to be able to talk to one another so that our lives can change and change the lives of others as well for the better.